Welcome, everyone. My name is Bill Schloth. I'm the CEO of Backyard Business Partners, and I'm excited today to bring you this workshop on preparing your pool or spa business for sale or investment, maximizing value and ensuring success. I'm joined today with Joe Sanchez. Joe's a business development and marketing advisor for the firm, and just a plain outright guru in digital marketing and marketing strategy. So, hey, Joe, all's well. Well, just so we can get started and get through the material with the size of the group we have today, I want to move all the answers, question and answers to the end. So if you have any questions, just put them in the chat. Joe will organize them, and then we will touch base. But please do put out the questions. That's how we all go about learning. I looked at prior to the starting this, I looked at the registration URLs, and for the most part, we have pool builders and a few pool service providers. But I did also know there's a design firm in Ohio and a landscaping operation. It's really awesome to see that because one of the big trends I'm going to talk about today and you'll hear about is the need to diversify your revenue streams and the power of creating partnerships as a way to increase the value of your company, your revenue, and the bottom line. So let me do a little bit about myself. I'm a CPA and I have an MBA in marketing from NYU. I've been helping entrepreneurs, small businesses for the past 25 years. And for the most part, I can say I've held every role, which would be an owner, an operator, an executive management, a coach, an investor. I've started my own ventures, sold some, purchased some. Unfortunately, I had to close one or two. It's part of the learning process. What we're also find is more often than not with the way we engage people at the company, some of us take on intermanagement roles, support roles for a client. For example, right now, for the past 2 years, actually, I've been sitting as a CFO, interim CFO for a regional pool build and service company, as well as a lawn care and landscaping operation. So enough about me. And Joe, hopefully we'll have some good questions, but let's move on to the presentation. So the big questions that we should be asking is whether it's a new year or a birthday or another time, many of us have to reset our goals and priorities. I'm doing just that. In fact, that picture to the right is my granddaughter reading our brochure, ready to sell your business, wondering what your business is worth. So I'm reassessing things. I'm 60, and you may be asking yourself questions such as, how am I spending my time? Or how should I be spending my time? What's important in life now? Do I still enjoy running the business? What are my retirement goals? What is my plan for the fact we're living longer these days, which is good and bad? Your business, though, is an integral part of these questions because it occupies such a tremendous amount of your time, and it's a vital piece to your financial plan. So in a perfect world, the time to sell your business is when the value of the business fits with your financial plan, and you're ready to turn that next page to start the new chapter of your life. That could be being an industry advisor, getting involved with the new venture, the community, or could be retirement. The goal here we're talking through is preparing yourself for the maximum value of the work you put into your company. So, Backyard Business Partners, little introduction. Based on the trends, consolidation trends you're seeing in the home and yard services industry following the pandemic, the entity was established as a one-stop resource that helps owners, operators maximize the value of their hard work when it comes to time to sell or seek investors for their business. That's it. We saw the need for it. Started in actually 2023. The NESPA trade show, those photos on the bottom is we were at the show. There was 300 or so exhibitors, 8,000 people, I think, passed through. And we learned exactly what we thought. There's a lot of people that understand what's happening in the market, and they are going to be looking to sell or invest or partner. So we feel our proposition is right on, and looking forward to this education as well as potentially working further with you. The other parts of the organization we're building is the BBP Brief is an independent data source for the home and yard industry. A lot of times there's a lot of bias in market data, and we're trying to eliminate that and valuations and other news on these two industries. We have a piece that it's still under development, but we're coming out with a marketplace that has both a community feel where the home and yard industry can more comfortably communicate together, but at the same time, it has a commerce feature, which would be places to move your equipment, inventory, specials, a manufacturer could be on it. And we feel it's going to be a great resource to not just put stuff up on Facebook, and have our children put it up or someone else, because we can better maximize the value or trust the reviews or repairs that we're getting. So we're excited about that marketplace. And we're also excited about the co-venture partners group we're creating at the firm, which will invest and has some investors that can go into new innovative ideas that are coming into market. We have one that's involved with developing a real looking lightweight rock formation for coping, and a number of other things excited about. So I won't get too deep into that, but it's another piece of the overall ecosystem we're building at Backyard Business Partners. So what my 25 years of working with small businesses, 10 before that with multinational corporations, I've seen what an M&A advisor, an advisor can do, a financial advisor. But I've now learned, especially with this home and yard business area and the amount of assets that are going to change hands, is there's a problem with the old business model, advisory model. And that was simply this. So the business side, we have business growth services to position yourself, start prepping for that day of sale. We have the business exit and strategic partnering side that I feel is very important to help building value. But where that a lot of firms stop at that piece, we also created a whole group of resources that sort of help you get to that point of like the people are just as important as the business. How you're doing before and after the transaction. Are you healthy? It's the health and wealth concept that need to be married up throughout the life of your company to prepare best for sale and beyond. So that's why we bought our group of resources. If you look more on the website and you'll see the YS page, you'll see financial experts, retirement people, market analysts. You'll also see that area which is talking about operators. We have an operator partners that are actually like yourselves, owners, a pool, landscaping. Those people can be great resources to privately see where you're going, to understand where they've been, and we're glad to have them as part of the firm. So we bring that all together. So speaking about market data, data, not just the CPA side of me talking this, data is critical to making informed decisions, whether that's your own financial data or market data, but it has to be reliable and accurate. So I want to run through some quick data trends in the market. The new residential pool installs, they're on their way down. 2022, you saw a drop. 2023, there was also a continued drop in pool in-ground stalls. Same goes for the above ground. There's 98,000 pools installed in 2022, new in-ground. I think there's just under that in 23. Pool remodeling and renovations. Bringing this up and you'll see those words, considering your business planning. This is a trend that needs to be considered, and the value of pool remodeling segment of the industry surpassed the in-ground construction value by more than 20% in 2022 and continued to do that in 23. As a result, remodeling has been a vital segment of the residential pool industry, and you're going to need to have your business plans consider that when you're trying to build something for future value and sustainability. There's a lot of information on here, but pool renovation projects and pool amenities, again, just giving you market data. When you asked a survey of what builder engagement they expect by project type, data points from which to develop your business plans, you'll see things like the top ones that are increasing is creating an entertainment space, replacing vinyl, upgrading or replacing decking, tile, coping, installing ozone sanitation systems. These are things you need to consider in your planning so that you can continue to grow profitably and position your company. Let's just move over to change in installation of pool amenities. This is another survey that was done, and where is the biggest changes going to be in installation of pool amenities? And I'm giving you this as data, which we then use to work with your business plan. Robotic pool cleaners, smartphone-enabled control sensors, ozone sanitation systems, UV sanitation, heat pumps, trends we got to consider in your business planning. Aftermarket, for those in the pool services business, the retail, aftermarket pool products and services are a significant segment of the pool industry, and it actually is growing. It hit 7.8 billion in 2022, which was slightly down from 21, but because of the install base, the requirements, this water sanitation, equipment repairs and upgrades, they're on the uptick again a bit. So consider these pieces. Services, 18% of the marketplace. Chemicals, equipment, parts, and accessories. Data points to use in your planning. Quickly for the hot tub, I'm not sure if there's any out there. Hot tub industry unit sales. Actually, in 22, they creeped up a bit, unlike the other ones. But I believe the last report was they creeped a little bit back down for 23. So what I wanted to present here is overall, and do it quickly because we'll dive into the valuation process and preparing your business. But here's what pool owners are saying, that and experts and advisors as to what needs to be some strategies for 2024. I wanted to put this out there. So here's some of the key ones. We'll touch on them with the fact that it should be in your planning. Embracing technology advancements, way up top there. Diversifying your services. Considering sustainability and eco-friendly practices. So that's products, chemicals, what the customer wants. Enhanced customer experience, critical. Enhanced digital marketing and online presence. That has been lacking. We'll talk more about that later. Streamlining operations and considering cost controls. Regular maintenance contracts, wherever it can be had. Investing in training and certification. Build that base you can work from. If I move over, I specifically did this in a survey in the pool services industry. The pool service owners, uniquely, I always want to point these out. What did they say they plan to do for 24? They're going to streamline their services. Their most profitable lines, most profitable routes. Expand into other lines of business. It's interesting. We saw some franchises expanding into pool building. But it's the fact of, like before, partnerships, considering other areas to get involved with, design, that type of thing. Here's an interesting one. They're reducing customer count and increasing profitability per pool. Very important aspect of how you grow your businesses. Remember, data for new customers, it's 5 times more costly to acquire new customers than taking old customers or some contacts you already know, or current customers, and increasing or re-engaging with them. It's 5 times more costly to acquire some new ones. And generally, with the older ones or just enhancing the customer experience, you'll have more profitability each time you touch that customer. You're seeing a lot more acquiring rounds. There was 88,000 pool companies at the end of 2022 in the United States because of the large pandemic. That has now continued to be shrinking, but it's a way to grow in both the pool build and services side of the business, because a lot of these have to get out. They're not as efficient. They don't have the technology and scale. And then the last piece again is the need to spend more money on marketing, increasing marketing budgets, but do it smart. We'll talk a little bit more about how digital and content marketing is much cheaper and more effective. Okay, so jumping a little bit now into the business valuation process. So how do you determine the economic value of a business? The first place to start is your historical data, the financial information, accurate financial information, revenue, expenses, assets, liabilities. That has to be reconciled. And I stress that because it's often an area that is overlooked. And then we spend up more times than not cleaning up the past to even get to the point where we can start saying, okay, now where are we going? And once we clean up that past, I can tell you most of the times an owner's surprised, like, I didn't know I was spending that much over there. Or I I thought we were on top of this. It's part of the process and a key part of it. So, second piece of evaluating company, market analysis. What are the trends? What's the conditions? Comparable company data. The pool and spa industry is consolidating. It's shrinking in certain areas. So you need to figure out and be realistic about where your plan should go, what it should look like, and how we should position it. Future projections. I have a lot of people, you'll run into advisors a lot, will say, get together a big business plan and put 5-year projections. I don't believe in that type of stuff. It's more, in my opinion, the shorter range type areas. How are we going to generate cash flow? Do a 90-day budget, a year projection, 2-year projection for most, because that's the more likelihood what's going to happen. And again, the markets will continue to change, so we need to be versatile in trying to change with it. There is company-specific factors that we always want to enhance in our valuation report. And when we speak to potential buyers or investors, those are things like management team, brand strength. You're going to hear me talk a lot about brand strength. And brand strength is just the value of your customers. Your truck signs, the most unbelievable thing I've seen and experienced, and it's known in the home and yard services industry, is how local you are. And most of you have been in business 30 years. That's a lot of interactions with people. To survive 30 years, 25, 30 years, you have satisfied customers. Your brand is known. Now you got to pull it out and maximize its value. We'll talk more about that later. Risk assessment, very important piece of the business valuation process that a lot of people don't realize, because it's not right on the radar right away, but I've seen a lot of deals that actually fall through because at the end the contracts weren't written right, or there was something wrong with how an employment agreement was drafted. These need to be considered. Plus, you got to consider any environmental or regulatory compliance items to make sure they are addressed or have a plan to make sure they're addressed. We're all sitting back and first question I usually get is, how much am I worth? What's the biggest value I can get from my business, Bill? Well, it's interesting. I put a chart like that up because I specifically don't like charts in any business plans that, just say this is going to be this rocket ship of trends, arrow going straight up. We have seen many cases, and often happens because as you get yourself more organized, take yourself out of the weeds, think about strategy, you can see a dip in revenue, but you probably might also see an increase in operating profit because you started to streamline operations. Then you start getting your whole marketing plan together to focus on the most profitable channels, and revenue starts to grow again. So these charts, it's not necessary. If you see a downturn, it's going to happen. But we got to make sure the future is positioned properly. So presenting a healthy business plan, financial performance, we got to look at the revenue, profitability, and cash flow, those three. And you say, okay, constantly should be doing this. And a lot of time it's so hard for a CEO, an owner to pull himself out of the weeds and say, strategy, where do I exist? Where am I? And identify like each of these areas. Hey, am I strong in this? And where can I improve? There's two big things that we differentiate ourselves when we launched Backyard Business Partners is where is areas of unlocked hidden value? And because I said I'm 60 and I'm in a baby boomer group, um, there's two big spots that have hidden value in them because most of the businesses we created, you created, especially in the home and yard services arena, uh, you didn't develop all that on the digital revolution. And we have the digital marketing like explosion we've had over the past, 10 years. But more importantly, last 5. And there's a lot of value hidden in that by leveraging that digital capabilities with your current customers, past customers, known or targeted contracts. This is brand value that's hidden in there. And we need to make a plan to pull that out. And it doesn't have to all be done by the time you get to a sale. You just need a plan to say, I have this much value sitting in all my 30 years of history. Those signs on the sides of the truck, on the road, on the people's property have value. And you want to get the most out of the value when you go time to sell. The other hidden value that we found, because again, us baby boomers building businesses were not built when all this tech was around, and especially with this revolution in artificial intelligence now that is here to stay, is valuable. Am I admitting part of this presentation was even done by AI? Yes, because it's wise to use that type of stuff. Marketing wise, it's phenomenal opportunities to cost effectively get your marketing done. No more paying big budgets to have people do things for you. There's a press of a button, and there's a lot can happen. So those two hidden areas is what we try to capitalize on when we go, okay, let's take a look at your business. Let's put a plan out to capitalize on those two. And let's project out how and when it's going to happen. Because you can sell before it's all pulled out, but it's value. So the way I like to look at this particularly was preparing your business for sale is really the best thing to do is like, okay, what mistakes did we learn, all of us, myself included, in and after a sale. And I don't like the expression that I have up there. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. I'd rather sort of switch that to sometimes you learn. And that's really important. And I like to tell you, this is how I evolve with clients and what we're built on with Backyard Business too, is it's all about the learning process and the people, that are involved. I just throw some of these out. I have a list that I keep here in my office and things like this: reality, the foundation of learning; responsibility, the first step of learning; adversity, the catalyst for learning; problems, the opportunity for learning; change, the price of learning. All this stuff is learning. Now, I want to, taking that, you'll see a report card there. That's learning. And we have, based on your years of experience and working with companies and preparing, selling, divesting, merging companies, we've really broken that down into a report card, which addresses the bigger mistakes in preparing for a sale: misalignment with marketing trends, lack of due diligence, overestimating value, financial mismanagement. I don't mean there's problems with the books or how you did something. It's just organization and preparation and presentation. that needs to be organized. Neglecting operating efficiently and automation adoption, huge one, because you're out in the field, you're working, and you're like, you need to take that time. It needs to start at the top for adoption of automation. I hate to say it. Yep, there's dinosaurs. There's the dinosaurs that exist. We need to turn ourselves into much more flexible and adopt this automation because it improves our bottom line, positions us for scale, and will drive a better value when it comes time to sell. Inadequate preparation for transition, we'll touch on. Inadequate risk management plan. Spoke a little bit about that. Lack of key management, employee, owner, financial and retirement planning. Huge piece to me, and something I started this presentation with why it needs to be involved before an owner sells and after an owner sells. Tax implications, how much money they'll need to live, how they're going to protect that. And then the absence of expertise, and that we'll touch base on. So let's hit a few of the items that I talked about, and we're moving with time. I want to keep cognizant on it, so I'm going to hit these, but it's part of the report card that we'd evaluate. I just want to highlight some of the items. Misalignment with marketing trends. So ignoring market shifts. What that means is failing to adapt to the evolving marketplace, right? The pool and business and customer preferences can erode competitiveness. It's happening in the pool industry. That's why Backyard Business was started. We're seeing consolidation. The industry is shrinking, but there's parts of it that need to that are increasing. You need to have your business plan flexible enough to address that immediately, and when you are positioning it for sale. Technology obsolescence we spoke about. You need to starts from the top, the adoption of automation, AI. Sustainability concerns, we need to talk about those items. Customers want to hear about that, want to hear what you're doing, and want to participate in them. Huge area that it just never seems like enough. We could have boxes of material, but I've seen it cause deals to just blow up right away, and it's not that hard to address. Neglecting due diligence, that's just having the documents organized, available, accurate, and have them in one place. You'll also find in the due diligence, you've got to be transparent. We're not going to, if you end up getting something by a buyer, it's going to come back at one point. You want to sleep better. So hidden liabilities. We can talk about these. If there's risks, we'll talk about the risks. You want to actually identify them privately, and then we bring them up as needed and how we're addressing the mitigation plan. Not going to cause a problem as long as you're transparent. Legal and regulatory compliance goes without saying. Need to be on top of that for your industry as well as in general. Employees, stuff like that. It's a big one, and I have the stories that go along with it. That's unfortunate. Overvaluing the business. Unrealistic expectations is just it's something that needs to be managed. I hate to say it. A lot of buyers just think they're worth a lot more than they are. Do they have hidden value? We firmly believe they do, especially this home and yard services, local industry type in the market. Believe so too. You're seeing a lot more investment money going into them because they see growth potential, but you need to be realistic on what your valuation is going to be to expect. Ignoring market trends we touched on before. If you sort of sit there and say it's not shrinking when it is obviously in front of us, people heading out of business or saying I need to get out. The time, I believe, is right now to be aggressive, forward thinking, because there's going to be opportunities now to expand your business because people have to change the way they're doing things. Lack of transparency, I can't stress more that those buyers need to have a relationship. Our buyers trust us. We need to make sure you are trusted by everyone you speak to, and it comes across as transparent. That is actually easy to do if you have the knowledge behind what your business looks like and good familiarity with your plan of how you're going forward. Poor financial management. See it all the time. It's the accountant in me, but the financial records are so key as a starting point for not only like setting expectations, budgeting for the future, but also just you making decisions. This is what I've seen so many times. I've seen managers, owners make decisions, and their financial information was not presenting the right information. So how did they make right decisions without the financial information that should have been there? Very important aspect. Cash flow management. You can't have fires show up. And the only way to address that again, I have one particular client that just says, your spreadsheets are unbelievable. I cannot believe how many spreadsheets you have. Well, there's a reason for them. And I know 2 years later, after we've been working with them, he sees that we can look at it and say, whoa, okay, now I can see out 90 days where I think cash flow might be, what I need to do, which area I need to concentrate on. Very important. Excessive debt, I just bring this up as this can go down to credit cards, car financings, small contingencies that are sitting within contracts, minimum purchase requirements. We need to just make sure we know all those so that there's no surprises once we're going through due diligence with a buyer. So another area that I use the word unlocking hidden value because I know it's there, whether a buyer is going to get it or you're going to get it now and make the changes and then show how you're going to just keep leveraging it, is operational efficiencies and automation adoption. That goes down to just processes, even workflows, but it also then is streamlining using software, and software as a service, it's called, is very reasonable. Adding the AI, the artificial intelligence component, so much opportunity to cost efficiently do everything from marketing to task management to ordering to employee management, needs to be leveraged. Scalability. For a buyer to buy you, they need to see how you're moving towards being scalable. The profit to grow profitably, you need to make sure your operations are scalable. And that again comes back to operating systems, but it also comes down to marketing strategies. Do you have a marketing plan that's realistic? Do you have the budget set right? And probably most importantly, are you measuring the results? Staff training, I think goes without saying. We got to set that stage for our people to excel. We want to see them develop and be happy and retain them. But at the same token, we need to make sure someone sees how we've positioned things for the future sustainability of the company. Cost control measures. This is your fixed cost side. And haven't gone into any business that I don't think I've ever been able to say, let's take those fixed costs and really drill down and see what we can make out of them. Great example is insurance. It's a horrible overhead cost for the firm, and it's just growing. But you need to be bidding that out heavily. You need to be making sure the policies are covering you properly. There's a balance between just finding the cheapest of all, but there is a lot of opportunity to independently make sure they're being evaluated. Insurance, payroll services, merchant bank charges. So expensive. 3% of your revenue just gets chewed up by most merchant processors. There are now new ways to reduce those costs that need to be looked at. Mitigating operational risk. You just need to have a plan. It doesn't have to be overly elaborate. We know we're smaller businesses, but you need to have a plan to say, hey, we're making sure we know about this potential risk, and we've created this type of process, whether that be simple as a subcontractor agreement that's properly vetted, annually checked, and then on some type of calendar to make sure that type of stuff brings buyer and investor confidence. Automatic preparation for transition. So another point, and this involves also very heavily family transitioning, because that's the worst cases. So absence of succession plan, you need to think through this. And even when you see a gap in the succession plan, you can look up potential buyers, acquirers. I'm not just talking to us all here on the phone as selling a company. You might be interested in acquiring or partnering with someone to take the next step. But you need to have that succession plan. What do you need to grow? Same item, though, is culturally. If you decide to partner with someone, um, assessing, do you have the same values? Yes. Do you have synergies cost-wise? One has better software than the other. All that stuff is going to drive success, make you both more happy. If you want to get out for retirement, that's a different angle to look at things. Post-sale support. Expect yourself to be involved, especially with this, your reputation of 30 years, 25 years being in business. Post-sale, you're going to still have to be involved so much. You're not just walking away, because the continuity of the business is important. You can set a higher value, but you probably will need to make sure you continually work a little bit to ensure the customers transition properly. This is also extremely important with family transitioning, because you cannot lose that momentum because someone did something wrong. And then there'll be this buyer remorse, we'll call it. So coming back to expertise, having an M&A advisor, I think, is critical as part of your journey, your sale journey, or acquiring someone, or pursuing an investor. We've experienced it all. We can facilitate the documents, set the valuations right, tell you when the right time to say certain things is and the wrong time. Operating advisors, that's the unique thing that we believe we have at Backyard Business. We said, let's bring together those bankers like myself, M&A advisors, and operators. What's better than having a pool professional that's been through it, experienced the pain you experienced, or a landscaper that's been through it, to be able to speak to be part of the due diligence, whether you're buying something and or selling part of your business. They have the real life experience. Financial advisors, I go back to different than the M&A advisors, because I believe there's been a big shortfall. And if you're not preparing financially before you sell your purse, this is your personal financial position. What are your goals? And then you end up, hopefully, obviously, a transaction ends up with a bundle of cash. But with that cash, you want to make sure you're ready. You should have a plan right away of how you're going to deploy it, and or how you're going to have some tax deferral strategies, investment ideas. We have those professionals. And then finally, last but not least, I have nothing against them. I have two in the family, but the lawyers, very important part of the process, even down to just making sure the closing documents are done right. Everybody's protected. Could include even intellectual property rights. You all have probably a few things that, believe it or not, you've created a process, maybe even some tools that are making you more profitable, faster, more efficient. There might be opportunity to take those tools and do something with them. I've seen plenty of people say, hold it, I have this simple process of pouring a cover box top better, more sturdy, and this is how we did it. And that type of material or items, there's some potential value in them. So I like to encourage innovation. That's our co-ventures group. So being the accountant, and I'm going through time here, but I want to be cognizant on the accountant side of me. I just wanted to get a little more specific. We would drill down naturally into these, but there's tax implications you need to consider. Things like assessing any capital gains tax you'll have on this deal, exploring tax efficient structures. Should you be selling the assets? Should you be selling the shares? Different impacts. There's definitely where and when can you use tax deferral strategies? The ability to structure installment sales. I talked about earnouts. The Section 1031 relates to real estate exchanges, tax deferral strategies. And then an important one, and it's even because of the pandemic and because of the economy and interest rate and inflation, you're seeing a lot more tax credits and incentives that you should be exploring. You need to consider. Could be because of the people, amount of people you have, the ownership, how the ownership structure of the company, the location you're in. These are potential benefits that you can pass along to a potential acquirer, but at the real case, take advantage of now and be considering. Legal, I won't stay. We have a separate seminar on that, I'll leave it open. But legal considerations are extremely important, determining the best sales structure, making sure the documents are enforceable, accurate, getting your due diligence set. Again, protecting those intellectual property rights. If we can find assets that we can turn into something that may be able to be selling itself while you're actually relaxing a little bit. Doesn't happen every day, but there's a lot of that went on, and it's because you improved your operation, and then we made it scalable. Addressing employee and regulatory matters, huge area that lawyers just give that comfort to. I'll dive, since I'm running lower on time. I want to keep questions and answers, leave some time, but I did want to, because it shines when you're an accountant or tax guy. Tax planning is a critical part. And here's an example. But how to defer taxes when selling a business. There's a certain strategy out there now that allows you to invest in a qualified opportunity fund, a QOF. And what really that comes down to, it's a program built, it's the US tax code 1400Z that allows, it's putting about $100 billion of balance sheet profits in Americans, almost like it's about 8,800, I think, depressed and underperforming communities. You can put money into those, and the incentive, the opportunity zone tax incentive, is a combination of tax deferral, but it actually is, and they use that word, and legalized tax avoidance, meaning it has three principles. You can defer some of your taxable gains. There is a potential of how you structure it, when you invest, how long you stay, for forgiveness of some of the current tax. And there is also tax-free growth on the money that's in these investments if held for certain statutory periods. Again, that's just something that you should consider. We dive into. It's having some expertise available to know what and when to use certain strategies. So one more touch on data. And I emphasized it, how more is the fact that there is, I'm convinced any company I've run into now, is hidden value in your brand. And what you're seeing more and more of, and we're developing specific kits, we hope to, by industry. It's sort of a high touch, hyper local type marketing, but it includes that digital revolution that we're seeing with marketing. Couple of stats: 68% of all online interactions start with a search engine. That means your website needs to own its space. And you hear a lot of expressions, you get inundated with a lot of marketing material about this, but web optimization, your site is extremely important, and it starts with search. Now, all the others are just as powerful: social media strategies and traditional strategies, being hyper local, important to be part of the overall plan for your marketing. Content marketing, I spoke about this earlier, costs 62% less than traditional marketing, and generally generates about 3 times as many leads. 84% of people say they have been convinced to buy a product or service by watching a brand's video. I've seen so many owners now take a picture of themselves, video themselves at a pool or a project, and it's put up on social media, and it's gone over so well. It's got attraction. You're local. People want to see you. And in terms of professional videos, I mentioned the artificial intelligence, the stuff we can do with now videos And taking scripts, developing scripts, and having that presented professionally is unlike anything I've ever seen in my career. So 85% of customers are willing to pay more for a better experience. Customer surveys, I can't say more about. Customer satisfaction is essential. And managing that and having a plan to address that, critical. Word of mouth advertising is hands down your cheapest and most powerful method of advertising. However, negative word of mouth is one of the worst that can really blow you up. I won't go too deep into this, but since we have this crowd, I wanted to touch on pool business owners. Excuse me, pool actual owners, your customers that were put in, were asked which research sources they use when considering building or updating a pool. And it goes down like this. You can see it 42% spoke with the pool builders directly. 41% researched pool manufacturer websites. 35% researched your websites, pool builders' websites. That better be ready and user-friendly and give them the tools they want to get to a point where you can say, hey, we're your person. 16% on social media, definitely an influencing channel. 15% on home improvement sites and 15% talk. I will move over to the pool service business owners. They were surveyed, I think, like 1,000 of them, I believe. Which marketing channels provide the best leads? 44% referrals. Cannot be more powerful. I've been in companies now, and I've had people tell me they haven't done that much marketing. And I ask them, how many leads are you losing? And one particular one even said, I didn't lose any. Like, oh, that means your pricing needs to be looked at. You're going to lose some. You're going to lose them. You want to then stay in touch with them, but referrals are key. And after you get in there and they are a customer, treat them like royalty, because that power that they have to drive you additional business. Have referral programs available for neighbors. Have referral programs available for employees. So other channels that are on top of the list: social media, search engine optimization. Please have a plan for that. It's less expensive than you think. There's suppliers of leads, there's paid search. So I appreciate, we're going to get to some questions, Joe. I know we got quite a few things and we're running up against time, but Backyard Business Partners, we're trying to bring together processes, give you some people, process where we can get it to be more efficient, tools and tech. We can bring that all together. And we have a lot of nice items that we can work with: evaluation report, benchmarking report. There is your report card, your readiness for sale report card. We just keep working on. And then our newer items to just draw that brand value out of you, and show you that how much value we have in this brand, to drive current revenues as well as position your future. We have an SEO audits, website audits, social media plans, and the like. So I want to thank you for attending. And we're going to get into a few questions and answers. We're at about 40 minutes. I don't want to go too far. And I mentioned, or I may have forgot, we have some giveaways. Thanks for staying to the end. And I hope you really learned something. But here's more. You want to learn more, and we can just general consult. You can send it to my email, call my cell phone, or just scan that, put your phone over it, and you can schedule an appointment. I encourage you to do that. In terms of free items, where you can scan this or send us an email and just ask the business sale readiness scorecard. We can get a free one going. And there's a really cool tool that gets you started. Like I said, I encourage this. Receive your free website SEO audit report. Powerful tool, great notes. Then we can set a strategy to go on there. So let me just answer a few quick questions, Joe. See, do you want? We're gonna make sure we'll get answers to all these. Here's a quick one. Do you handle family transitioning? Uh, Definitely. And the planning and all the same exact thing. It's just it may be even more important sometimes for family relationships because post sales, if you didn't prepare well up front or actually complete the transaction properly, these are family members and those type of turmoils. Most often, I believe I said before, there will be some type of buyer's remorse. It's called buyer's remorse. I just call it someone's going to complain no matter what. It just get prepared for it. Um, but you want to maximize and protect yourself as much at that closing and be available for post-sale type stuff. That will get it out. One other, do you have we have professionals in different disciplines that are readily available. How long should I expect the sales process to take? It's a loaded question, right? Some people want to sell, and I'm ready to sell today. We have to, till we can really try not to hedge, but until we can look under the hood, we'll find some key valuation improvements. We want to set a plan out and or fix them. And then we just want to overall polish up everything. Let's just call it that, polish it up and do a little repairs. It's not going to happen overnight, but it can happen quick. Our two type of customers, those ready to explore selling right now, and the other ones that are sort of want to prepare themselves for sale in a year and a half, 2 years. That's the sweet spots. The ones that want to explore themselves for sale now, we still got work to do, and but we're finding more of the ones. Let's just get going now in about 2 years, be able to do something of value. However, the market, we need to get on this now. As my granddaughter was reading that book, sooner the better, because especially with the pool and spa industry. Maybe I'll take one more, Joe. So, oh, I might have mentioned this. It's someone asked, I found many online portals to sell. What do you think about that route? So what do you mean? So those online portals, you'll see a lot of these places that go and sell your business. There's buy sell. There's tons of them. There's buy sell. There's BizQuest, US Business Sales. There's so many of these online portals. You put yourself up. There's not a lot of human interaction. Um, Not a lot of help in trying to design a lot of things. The material you put out there, the financial information, the valuation you put on there, I think you can get the feel of where I'm going. That lack of human interaction and their bias towards let's just get this thing sold. Not cheap. Don't think it's cheap. 10, 15% of the companies, the percent of the sale is generally going to them for a mechanism. I don't like them. I don't like them. And then I just want to add the privacy concerns. This should be a privately negotiated deal. You need to be working with someone that has buyers, but you need to be private because that word gets out that you're selling can have damaging effect immediately. And then naturally, if there's impact on customers or service or just word of mouth that everybody's going to talk about it, that can really be detrimental later. So listen, I wanted to wrap that up now. I appreciate all the time. Hope you took a photo of all this, and Joe and the rest of the team were available. We appreciate it and have a great day. Thank you.